Marianne Faithful in New York, faithful by name, but not necessarily by nature, apparently. Or am I being a little unkind?
I don't know. I never really thought too consciously about my name being Faithful. I used to be called Faithless at school.
When did it begin? When did Marianne Faithful first decide that she was going to be a lot different to most other people?
I don't know if I ever realized it too clearly. I do remember when I was 14 asking my father what he thought I should do when I grew up, and being very shocked when he said that he thought I should perhaps be a sociologist. I remember thinking, he must be mad. I'm not going to do anything like that. So I had some idea that I wanted to be famous, and I wanted to make money, and I wanted to do something very special.
Well, let's go back to the 60s, the Rolling Stones, and your love affair with Mick Jagger. How did a schoolgirl, as you were then, get involved in that league?
I met him when I was still at school. I was 17. When I recorded As Tears Go By for the first time, I met him around that time. And we had a love affair.
Did you anticipate a long-term affair, or was it always going to be a rock and roll romance?
Oh, it was a long-time affair, yeah. We were together about 6 years.
Of course, your visit to Australia in 1970 with Mick Jagger is regarded by most people, I suppose, as the most notorious period in your life. It was also the time you attempted to kill yourself here in Sydney. How much of that whole episode do you remember?
Indeed, I remember that very clearly, trying to kill myself, and the anger I felt, and the pain I was in, and the way I dealt with it.
But why did it happen? Why did somebody who apparently had every reason to live for try and kill themselves?
Oh, really? On the surface, I had everything in life to live for. Well, it shows that things are not always as they seem. Still, that doesn't mean there is any excuse for me trying to kill myself. And I'm awfully glad today that I didn't manage to do it.
Without wishing to sound too harsh, I guess most people would think that anybody hell-bent on killing themselves can find a way to do it, yet you were unsuccessful.
I think taking 150 sleeping pills and being in a coma for 6 days shows that I was quite serious about it.
When did the drugs begin?
I started taking soft drugs when I was quite young. I think I was about 19. And I was one of the people to whom, if people said to me, and they did, if you start smoking pot, you'll end up on heroin. I laughed at them and I said, no, I won't. And within 2 or 3 years, I did. If I couldn't get narcotics, I could drink instead. And of course, alcohol is a drug. And it's just all the same stuff. It's all chemicals. So I'm not really into discussing one drug over another. We're talking about chemical dependency, and it is a very serious, has been a very serious problem in my life, from which I am now recovering. And I'm very grateful to be able to say that.
You're now confident that the dope and the booze are all behind you?
I wouldn't put it like that. I take it a day at a time. I am not taking any chemicals today, and I have not had any chemicals in my system at all for 15 months, but I take it a day at a time. I would never say I was confident I had anything like that beaten, because it is a very powerful disease indeed, and I cannot do it alone, and I cannot have that kind of ego-centered attitude. I have hit many bottoms in my life, and as I said before, I'm taking it a day at a time.
Yet as recently as 1986, you were undergoing drug rehabilitation in the United States, and your lover at that time, who was also undergoing rehabilitation, killed himself by jumping off the 36th floor of an apartment block.
I went into treatment in 1985, in November 1985, and that has been a very hard affair for me to deal with, and for his family as well. And I don't have anything to say about that. That's personal, nothing to do with anybody else.
2 failed marriages and your generally stormy past. Does that indicate some sort of inner anger?
I don't know. I have spent a long time with self-contempt and self-hatred. And I have been very angry with myself for many years. And you can see that by looking at the self-destructiveness of my life. I am in therapy today, and obviously I'm not going to discuss those kind of things with other people apart from my therapist.
So what do you think the future is?
I really don't know what the future is. How would I know?
And given the chance to do it all over again, would you go the same way, or would there be a lot of changes?
I don't think if I had a chance, I don't think I would do it all over again. But as I don't have a chance, we will never know, will we?
I guess not. Marianne Faithful in New York, thank you very much for your time this evening.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.